It's mid-April. The weather has been so warm since the beginning of the month. My garden is full of blooms already. Everything that I planted at the end of last year and the beginning of this year is already growing. So welcome to my April garden tour with updates on the projects that I've already completed for the season and things that are coming up next. We'll be starting on the roadside garden today, looking at this long mixed border. But the first thing we're going to take a look at is the new border that I just recently put in place with these two gorgeous maple trees. I started the border back in March by simply laying down some cardboard and covering it with compost to kill off the grass that was growing between the two small pre-existing garden beds that I had here. I did widen the garden bed a little bit just because I'd like that pathway to not be too wide in the future. I collected plants from all corners of my garden that I was thinking about putting here anyways, and I didn't really have to buy many new plants for that. So most of the things you see here right now were already in the garden. And the two Japanese maple trees together, I believe, give the garden bed a unique feature, which is very, very interesting. The blood good Japanese maple and the orange dream. Other than that, I did leave in the things that were here already, that I had already planted last year. But I added in some new things that I got during the plant sale in fall, as well as many of my seedlings, many of the things that I started from seed. It's worth mentioning that this roadside garden is on the north side of our property, and as such it has shade in the afternoon. So we're working here on a part shade garden bed. We have sunlight right now because it's the morning time, but from noon until early evening the garden bed is mostly in shade. Accordingly, I have tried my best to put in mostly shade-loving plants and things that are evergreen to provide some winter interest, but I've also added lots of annuals that I started from seeds, like snapdragons, foxglove, and I have kept the ground cover roses and small boxwoods plants that I had here initially. I'm going to be, of course, changing and amending as time progresses, but for now, I'm pretty happy with how everything is coming together here. Now, looking at the long border, also part shade, and you can see that most of the things are coming back to life, like this variegated hydrangea. We have things that will be blooming in the next couple of weeks, some of the spring shrubs, early summer, but I also have some astilbe here, some heucheras, many things that I really look forward to seeing performing in this space this season. Compared to 2 weeks ago when I posted the March garden tour, you'd notice that the peonies have tripled in size and some of them are budding up already. The bleeding heart is now blooming. The one in the backyard has a bit more to show. And this garden bed right here is filling up nicely, and I cannot wait to see it come to life fully. I've moved a few things around, trying to look for the best place to put them, like this Canadian summer right here. And I still have a few spots that are very congested and where I might have to remove a few things to provide some air for the remaining plants. Here are a few teardrops that have just bloomed, and I'm quite happy to see these pop up. I finally got my hands on some ground cover lambs here, and it's going to be my first time planting these, and I cannot wait to see them perform here. I still need to clean my pond, but I turned on the fountain and it's nice to hear the waterfall here. Over here on the upper side of the roadside garden, I've made more changes, planted new things, took out others, but I'm slowly getting to a comfortable place, and I cannot wait to see how everything come to life and perform over here. Over here, my clematis is climbing on, and I really look forward to seeing it take over this whole tree and bloom. The endless summer hydrangeas over on this side are continuously leafing out. They're usually amongst the first things to bloom in early summer, so I can't wait to see those blooms. We're now heading towards the backyard, and we'll start over here with the lilac tree that has already leafed out and the bloom heads have already formed. So it's going to bloom very, very soon. And the limelight hydrangeas are also leafing out beautifully. I've managed to put in place the setup to transform this stem into a tree by just putting down a zip bag and putting some soil in it, and I'm hoping that the roots are going to grow into that bag, and then I can cut off the stem and plant it separately. All my containers on this side of the garden are doing beautifully. The tulips are blooming. I've had such a beautiful spring bulb bloom show this season. I'm really happy with how the bulb lasagna that I planted back in fall, how they've turned out, and they provide such a beautiful show in this backyard. The roses have leafed out perfectly. The alliums have already formed their bloom heads, and they're going to be blooming next. The color combination in some of the containers have really succeeded perfectly, and although some of the daffodils are already dying back, there's enough interest still with all the tulips and the alliums that are now popping up, and it continues to be interesting. And you'd notice that I have some hydrangeas in those containers that are supposed to take over with blooms as soon as the bulbs are done. Of all the tulips in the garden this year, these right here are my favorite, and my husband likes to call them vanilla ice cream tulips. They're really stunning, especially in the evening or in the early morning when they close up. Oh, so pretty. Now, how pretty is this brunera? It used to grow in my wild side garden, and I brought it here because we couldn't really see it well. And yes, it is a shade loving plant, and over here is very hot. It's going to get very hot in the summertime, but for right now it's just right. And I've added in some lemon corocidum that I'm growing for the first time, and I cannot wait to see them perform here. So it looks like we're going to be having rain today. The clouds are beginning to form up, and it's getting darker. We have lots of changes in the garden. We are now in the process of putting up the pergola. It's already standing, but we still need to do some work on it. And we've set up the pool already contains water, and we've used it already once. That's how good the weather has been this beginning of April. Work to be done in this new garden room now that we have the pergola in place. But I still need to do lots of things here. Lots of planting, lots of moving things around. And lots of irrigation to do as well. And I have another project going back there. And before we head over to the kitchen garden area, the hydrangea hedge is leafing out beautifully. I think it's looking better than it has ever looked. You can see that the trim was just right, and they are developing new stems on the old stems, but are also shooting out new stems from the ground. So it's going to be very, very dense this year. I'm just curious as to how tall they're going to get this season. But I might have to divide them already next year because they do have a limited amount of space here, given that we have the pool on that side and this walled is concrete garden bed here. Another thing I need to do for next season is to really be conscious as to what type of tulips I want to have here. Now these are the ones that I threw in, I think That was the first season like 2 years ago. I'm going to be taking these out and I'll probably plant just some white tulips here. These are beautiful colors though. And they're so tall and they appear like little bouquets inside of in the midst of the hydrangea hedge here. So I really love that. But I'm going to probably plant more of here's a project I'm currently working on. I'm planting the dahlias this early already. I've checked the weather and there's no frost inside. We're putting in the dahlias as well as 2 lines of zinnias on this garden bed, and I'll just cover everything with the frost protection mesh. All right, the kitchen garden looking fabulous. I'm really happy with how everything is coming up, from the carrots over here to the onions back there, the onions that I started from seeds, to the radishes, the lettuces. 3 rows looking perfect, perfectly perfect. Look at that. I need to harvest that mustard green back there because that one is taller and bushier and it's just ready. I think the leaves are best when they're this size, so I'm going to be harvesting that. And these as well, these are cotton come again, so I can also harvest them already to enable a second or more flushes to come out. More radishes here. The tatsoi looking great. I don't think we'll have enough room for those beets to grow in. Here are the kohlrabis, the white ones. Now that everything is growing, it's looking quite tight already. Let's see how it does. And the spinach also looking beautiful. Also needs to undergo the first harvest, I think. So exciting is that I have the asparagus already copied up. So I put a few branches there to stop the cats from constantly trying to get into this bed. So the asparagus is coming up nicely, and the leeks that I planted here is holding up nice. The pear tree has beautiful blooms this season, so that's looking quite nice. It's loaded with blooms. And we are in the process of planting an apple tree over here. So this is our new apple tree. Also forming blooms already. It was in containers, suffered a mild frost. Now we can really see the leaves. The sugar snap peas is already popping out of the ground on this side as well. The sugar snap peas that I started indoors, it's doing already much better. I think it's grown a bit more since last check. The strawberries are already beginning to show signs of blooms. I've had to put a mesh on top of this bed also to stop the cats from getting in. Those in containers are also doing just fine. The onion and the garlic beds are looking just fine, growing nicely. I think that garlic is going to be the best yet. I hope the bulbs are as vigorous, as big as the stems are vigorous in growing. So let's wait and see. I only have a few more leeks to harvest from last season. So yeah, the onions, I need to harvest some of those leaves to make sure that the plant is focusing its attention on creating big bulbs. So the raised metal garden bed here on this side, you can see that all the broccolis, and I'm not sure that I planted the right broccoli here. we'll see what comes out. I hope it's not the purple sprouting broccoli, because that one takes like 2 seasons to mature. What I mean by that is that the one that I planted last season has only matured, is only ready for harvesting now. You can see that I need to harvest all of these. It looks really beautiful, but it took forever to get to this stage, and some of them are not even close. So I'm going to harvest these really soon. I've planted out my sweet peas already. The idea is for it to kind of like grow up here and cover the area. Let's see if that happens. All right, I have so many tomatoes that I've taken the risk to plant out a few outside already in my little greenhouse here. So yeah, and I also planted out my aubergine plant. You can see that I have more fava beans that I need to plant out, and I put in a pepper as well. So we'll see how all that, I think these things will do just fine. I hope so, at least. So the tomatoes are there. This one is looking much better than the other two. We'll see. I do have a lot of tomato seedlings, so if these do die, I'll have more to replace them with. So that's why I took the risk. So I'm really happy with how everything is looking, and let's see how things go.